So my name is Nahre Sol. I'm a pianist composer, and I've been challenged to go through levels of music complexity at the piano. What's amazing about music composition is that it explores so much, and the possibilities are really endless in terms of what you can do with 12 different pitches. What's incredible is that composition can go to so many different places, and the possibilities are really endless. A quick disclaimer, this is based on my interpretation of the word complexity in this context. It can mean different things for different people. And the song I'll be using, Happy Birthday. It's common, it's familiar, and if it's your birthday, you're in luck. At some point in history, someone decided to arrange these notes in this particular order. So let's first play it with just one finger in the simplest way possible. And this is our melody. With that, I'm going to add just another finger. I'm alternating notes, and I'm creating the simplest form of a bass line. By adding a third finger, I'm supporting the bass line. Now we have a stronger sense of harmony. These two fingers are called a drone when played together, and you can hear it in rock shuffle. By adding a third finger in the left hand, that's a chord. We can move these chords around, take it somewhere else, but we eventually come back home. So now I can take this chord, I can break the notes up, and now I have an arpeggio. Another way to break up the chords might be or where I'm taking the notes of the chord and I'm opening it up like a fan. This movement is now giving us a deeper sense of rhythm. So what happens when we take our arpeggio, break it up by skipping the second note? These groups of three makes the piece more like a waltz. You may be familiar with a waltz, or a waltz is in groups of three. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're beginning to find form. I could choose different genres which are in different groups. Or rumba, or stride. But we're going to continue with waltz for now. So let's go back to the right hand melody. The goal is to add more complexity and presence to the melody by expanding it. I could make it more complex simply by using more than one finger at a time. But for this level, I'm going to keep it to one finger at a time. And add embellishments. By simply adding notes around the melody, I am decorating it, almost like adding lacing to something. And this makes it sound prettier. There's more motion to it. There's more color to the melody. There are more elaborate ways to do it. And in certain cases, you can hear the melody less or more. Now, a warning on decoration. Complexity isn't just about a bunch of added notes and craziness. One way to interpret the purpose of this video might be something like this. But for me, physicality doesn't equal complexity. We can make things much more complex in other ways. So up until now, we've been dealing with the melody and the harmony. So two parts, singer and a band. What happens if we have two singers, two voices? Now, if we swap these parts, the main melody is on the bottom. It's much more complex. Add to that a third melody on the bottom so that the main melody is sandwiched in between the other two parts. It's like having three singers singing together. So now we're dealing with polyphony, multiple voices, and the complexity is in the interaction between all of them. And what's harder is to hear the happy birthday melody. But put away voices for a second. How else can we make the melody less recognizable? We can change the rhythm. So far it's been in groups of three. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What about groups of 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to make it more complex by making it 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So far we've been dealing with adding stuff to the melody and rearranging it in different ways. But now, in changing the DNA of Happy Birthday, it's becoming more of a composition. So before we move on to level 13, let's see what it sounds like with all of the levels combined. So there are different tools that we can use to change the color, the mood, and the personality of what we're dealing with. Say, for example, we add extensions. You can enrich the harmony. Say that we change the harmonic progression. Or the scale. Or the arrangement of the scale. These are all tools that we can use to create new material. We can also combine certain techniques as well. That's Happy Birthday in E major. Let's take those chords and apply the melody in C major. So those levels were about manipulating harmony, but what does it mean to manipulate the melody? There are more tools that composers can use to transform the melody in unrecognizable ways. These are more abstract. Let's say we play the melody backwards. Or flipped upside down. Upside down and backwards. Or fragment it, displace it in different registers. These are all techniques that composers use to abstract the melody and find new material out of it, kind of like what Picasso does with his paintings, where he abstracts parts of the human body and displaces them around the canvas. So we have one last final level. The complexity of this last level is really hard to articulate because it has to do with creative alchemy and combining all the different parts so that they come together in a way that reflects me as an artist and what I want to express in music. You can just prepare a dish, but it's different from really cooking it with heart and with soul. So when you put all of the different levels together, this is what I would do. Complexity isn't something that can be straightforwardly measured in music, yet it's been an interesting exercise to notice the different nuances that are involved in creating something that's complex. It was super challenging because I didn't really know what complexity means in the context of music because it can be applied to different things. In this case, I chose to apply it to certain aspects of music composition, and it was about the architecture of things. Tomorrow, I may look at this challenge, if I were to revisit it, and focus on an entirely different aspect of music, whether it's sonority or texture, something completely different. There are a lot of creative choices along the way that affect how the final product will turn out to be. Whatever you do with music, it always has to have some sort of purpose other than just being an intellectual exercise, because otherwise, what's the point? So that's it. Thanks, Wired.